Hey there, welcome back to my channel. I'm Cybersecurity Meg, and I'm super stoked that you're here. Today, we're going to be discussing a very controversial and hot topic, and that is whether or not cybersecurity degrees are worth it. And I've gotten this question so many times, just in engaging with colleagues, not necessarily on YouTube or on Reddit or a social media platform, but simply just in everyday discussions when I'm speaking with friends or people who are looking to get into cybersecurity. And I have a lot of opinions on it, and I'm sure you do too. Now, to save you some time, the long roundabout version, or the long roundabout answer to the question is no, they're not always worth it. Cybersecurity degrees are not the end-all, be-all to getting into cybersecurity. And I'm going to tell you in this video why. So to give you a little bit of context and frame exactly where I'm coming from, I have a BS in political science, which I obtained in 2017 from the University of South Florida, Tampa. And I have a MS in cybersecurity that I obtained in 2019, also from the University of South Florida, Tampa. And when I think about, is a cybersecurity degree worth it? A few different scenarios come into my head. Oftentimes, when people are questioning, should I get a degree in cybersecurity, they fall into one of several categories. One, it's someone who's already planning to go to college. You're probably in high school and you're wanting to have a career in cybersecurity. This is the easiest part of the video. I'm going to tell you, yes, absolutely. If you're already planning to go to college, then absolutely you should get a BS or a BA, whatever they're offering in cybersecurity. And the reasons why is because at the end of your degree, ideally probably at the end of 4 years, even if you find that you don't want to go into the technical aspect of cybersecurity, you don't want to work in a SOC, there are so many different other avenues that having an undergraduate degree in cybersecurity open up to you that aren't technical. For instance, you can go into GRC, which is Governance, Risk, and Compliance. This is non-technical, but it's still highly sought after and extremely important to the cybersecurity field. You could work in pre-engineering for cybersecurity. You could sell cybersecurity products for vendors. You could work in the compliance aspects. You could write policy. You could go work in foreign affairs. You could work for the government. You can work in the private sector. There's so many different options in worlds that are opened up from having a BS in cybersecurity that my answer to that first scenario is yes, absolutely. If you have the means to go into cybersecurity with your 4-year degree and you're gonna do it anyways, like you need to get a degree, yes, cybersecurity is perfect. That leads me to another common scenario. And this scenario is usually someone who's a bit older, maybe you're in your 40s, 50s, what have you, and you're already well set in your career. You're very well defined, you've been doing something for a while, it may or may not be in IT, and you're like, hey, Meg, I want to make a career switch. Is getting a degree in cybersecurity what's going to help launch me into a career in cybersecurity? And if you are in this realm, this is kind of where it gets tricky to me because obviously there's no guarantee that getting a degree in cybersecurity is going to have a specific outcome. Just because you do X doesn't mean Y is going to happen. Obviously, I wish life worked like that, but unfortunately it doesn't, hey? So in this scenario, this is where I really have to sit down, and if I were you, I would think about the cost versus benefit and kind of analyze that situation. First off, I'm thinking to myself, is my employer going to pay for this degree? If your employer is going to pay for it and you have the time for it or the ability to, spend several hours of your life a week contributing to acquiring this degree, I would say, heck yeah, let's go for it. Like, learning is one of the most powerful tools that we can have in our lives. So if you have that opportunity where it's not going to place a financial burden on you, then heck yeah, full steam ahead. Now, more than likely, you don't live in this dream world, and you're like, Meg, my employer is not going to pay for me to go get a cybersecurity degree. I totally get it. This is probably 99% of people. And in this case, this is where it really leads back to kind of the pros and the cons. How much money is it going to cost? What are my expectations of getting this degree? What am I going to learn from this degree that I can't learn from a free open source tool online? Is this degree going to boost my self-confidence? Is it going to boost my resume? Is it going to boost my morale? Am I going to be achieving or accomplishing a long-term goal of mine? And probably last but most important, how is getting this degree going to affect my future job prospects? Those are the questions I would be looking to answer if I was in your shoes. Obviously, I can't make the decision for you. If you're looking to solely get a career out of getting another BS, I would say it's probably not worth it. If you're just wanting to bolster your knowledge in cybersecurity and you're understanding and empathetic to the idea that you're going to go through a program, you're going to learn a ton, but you're going to spend a lot of time, money, and you may not get a career out of it, then yes, I would say go for it. But I'm certainly not one to sit here and tell you that you should go spend your money when you have no promise that it's actually going to, give you the outcome that you want. So the third kind of situation that I get asked about is, hey Meg, I work in IT, I have a BS and whatever, and I'd like to get into cybersecurity. Is an MS in cybersecurity a good way to break into the field? And again, this is a very wishy-washy scenario. One thing I will note, just kind of out of importance, prevalence that I've seen, is if you go look on Indeed or Glassdoor, Monster, whatever these, major job posting sites are, a lot of jobs, specifically for cybersecurity nowadays, will say, hey, if you're wanting to get this job, we're requiring 10 years of experience for it, hypothetically. But if you have a master's degree, we're only going to require 5 years of experience. Well, guess what? If you only have 5 years of experience and you have a master's degree, which probably took you 2 to 3 years, then that's saving you 2 years of experience that you don't need to get because you have a master's degree. That's where the math kind of comes into these things, and you really have to think about is going through and putting in the time, effort, and financial expenses of acquiring this degree going to satiate the needs of the kind of jobs that I'm looking at? Is it going to save me time? If I put in 2 years to get my master's degree, is it going to save me 3 or 5 years that I would need to get an experience? But because I have the MS, the company's not making me get the experience. Those are some of the things that I would really contemplate. Now, if you're already working in IT and you're thinking, I'd really like to get into cybersecurity, my initial thought would not be to go to school and get a degree in cybersecurity. Frankly, I would probably point you more towards certifications, but nonetheless, I digress. That's a different video for a different time. So my MS in cybersecurity, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, it took me about 2 years to complete, and I did it all online. It did, I will tell you this, and this is completely for me, it's not applicable to you, but probably I will get asked about it. It did open the door for me to get my career in cybersecurity. I do wholeheartedly believe that having that on my resume, I am currently attending the University of South Florida to get my MS in cybersecurity. I do believe that had a large effect on me getting my entry into cybersecurity. At the time that I got my first cybersecurity job, I did not have the degree. I was still in the very beginning, like my first or second semester of the program. But one thing I did do to capitalize on having the degree and kind of showing to my employer what I can do with the degree once I have it is I listed out all of the courses I would be taking and the key skill sets that I would be garnering from each of the courses and how they were applicable to the company, how what I was studying directly correlated to the job description that was being posted. And I kind of emphasized on, hey, because I'm learning this at school, you're not going to have to spend as much time teaching me it in, the office, right? So that's how it worked for me. Obviously, it doesn't mean it's going to work like that for you. Now, the last tier of cybersecurity degrees, because we've spoken about BS and we've spoken about MS, are PhDs. And frankly, at the time that I'm filming this, I have not been able to find any PhDs in cybersecurity. Correct me if I'm wrong. I would love to be wrong. I've looked in both the US and Europe. As many of you know, I am a US citizen, but I do live in Europe, and I've been able to find PhDs in information assurance. I've been able to find PhDs in business concentrating in cybersecurity, but I haven't been able to find PhDs in cybersecurity. And when you look at the syllabus, or the syllabi rather, for these PhDs that are in information assurance or in another concentration, and I compare them to what I would expect the syllabus for a PhD in cybersecurity to be, they seem drastically different to me. What I would expect to get out of a PhD in cybersecurity, I personally have a long laundry list of what I would want, and I can't seem to find it anywhere. So what I am crossing my fingers for is that within the next 5 or so years that some of these schools are going to be creating these PhD in cybersecurity programs. Now, when does that become applicable to you? Well, for me personally, it would be applicable to me because I would love nothing more than when I am older and looking to be retired that I have a PhD in cybersecurity and I can just go be a professor at some school or some university. I think I enjoy teaching. I love cybersecurity. I can't wait to see where the field will go in 30 or 40 years when I'm looking to retire, and I can't think of a better job than to get to teach it to the newer generations. So that's when I would look into a PhD. Or obviously PhDs usually are very heavily research-based, so if you're highly interested in research and contributing to the field of cybersecurity, again, that's where it would be relevant to you. I hope this video was informative to you. It's a very wishy-washy, kind of hard to answer topic because honestly, to be able to give an educated opinion on whether or not a cybersecurity degree is worth it, I kind of have to take into my brain like the very holistic overview of a specific scenario or someone's specific situation. If you are thinking, hey, should I get a degree in cybersecurity, and you'd like some help, maybe you have some questions about it, or if you have a question about getting an MS in cybersecurity, feel free to reach out. You can DM me on Instagram, or you can comment down below. I'm always happy to help you guys out. So I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. And if you need anything or have any questions, just let me know. Ciao.